So that's the name of the story, by the way. The story is called The Wooden Sword. Yeah. Um, so just like somebody was saying, I saw the Shah, I saw that well, I saw that. You wouldn't have seen your image. You would have seen Puri Jagannath's image or Karan Johar's image or, it's their image that we would have seen. I have nothing against it. I also watch cinema. But, just to make you aware of the difference there. So I always give the example that watching a film is like drinking a nice cup of tea, but listening to a story is like making a bonfire, everybody coming together, putting a little kettle there, somebody brings the water, somebody brings the patti, we all sit together, we make the tea and we pour it out and we sip it and have it together, right? It's like that because you are making the film in your mind. You are beyond Puri Jagannath and Anurag Kashyap and everyone else, okay? Because it's you are making the film. The entire thing is appearing in your screen because there's nothing here, right? There's nothing around me. I don't have graphics. I don't have HD. I don't have Dolby. Yeah. So that's the beauty of oral storytelling. It fires your own creativity. And that's also why you're all smiling so much, because, like when you do something that you love, like you like singing, you spend some time singing, or you like painting, you do it. The kind of feeling that it leaves with you is the feeling you'll have after listening to a story because you have created something and we have done it together, even better, we have traveled together. So yeah, that's the beauty. So that's why you should listen to stories and you should tell stories.
Deepa ji, this is, something we do in our entrepreneurship cell. But, we do much more than, just talking about entrepreneurship because entrepreneurship is just one part of life, right? It's not like everything. So I don't know whether you had a chance to look at the links which Vivikta sent. Did you have a chance to look at them?
I very briefly looked up. I should look up more. I will do that. Yeah.
Okay. Please do. What we do is we are big about storytelling. We talk about how to make impossible possible in our conversations. We talk about ideas that can define one's life, one's society, the whole world. And we just talk about it. We are not thinking about, that respect, that atmosphere of respect, which we have created over 3.5 years, helps us to go into that journey of, making impossible things happen. Many of the students have written. So basically what I was saying is, we created an atmosphere of respect, mutual respect over the last 3.5 years. So we discuss impossible ideas. The so-called impossible, we have tried to make it possible. So if you go to our website, you can see the many books all of these students have written.
Oh.
When I started, people, many were saying, students can't write, they can't sit for 5 minutes, they don't have good writing skills, they don't have good presentation skills, all of that. And I always believe that if you can take them into a journey of what they could be and what they want to be, and really let them be who they want to be, and let them be like, hey, yes, I can be that. And then they start doing impossible things. And that's what happens. Now the same people now look at them and say, wow, they can't believe that these kids have written books. Writing a book takes a lot of effort. And these students have done a lot of, we have a YouTube channel called Thop YouTube channel. You could, it's one of the links that has been sent to you. And you could look at there and you will see the many videos all of these students have done.
Lovely.
Because, how can you tell someone when you want to look for a job, how can you tell them in 15 minutes or 30 minutes what you have done. But if you start creating videos over 4 years, and now you can give them the playlist, you can say, you know what, this is my link. Go and look. You can see what I have done over the last 4 years. Now the other person says, wow, this Vivekta, I can invest time in you. I can invest money in you. I can invest energy in you. So you can see all of those things happening. And when you started telling about storytelling, one of the links which we gave you is about our story. So the student actually gave a presentation called Our Story, Making Impossible Possible.
The way you grab attention is just miraculous, ma'am. Now the floor is open for the questions.
Yes.
Guys, please raise your hand if you have a question. So, to begin with, Shivani Akka.
Yes, ma'am. I have a question. How did you learn storytelling, ma'am?
Oh, okay. So I don't have a teacher. I don't have a mentor. I don't have a guru who taught me, from whom I learned storytelling. Okay. I always say that life has been my teacher, because I started Bharatnatyam, which is Indian classical dance. I started when I was 6 or 7 years. I've been dancing from then. I've read a lot of books. My father was an avid lover of books and reading, and he would keep buying books all the time. Our favorite outings, my father and I, were libraries and bookstores. So I've read a lot of books. And he would tell me few stories, not too many, but he would, he would chalao one story for 3 years. So, and I would listen to it also every night for 3 years, 4 years. Like my sons, my children need a new story every time. So I have this, an interest in dance, which developed my skills of expressing with hands, with eyes, with face, rhythm, sense of rhythm. Yeah. And we also, I learned to play the violin. So I have some sense of working with music. I used to write for the Hindu. I used to write for the papers. I worked with the radio. I worked with All India Radio for a few years. I have taught a lot. I have taught 11th and 12th class students. I have taught literature and literary analysis at TIS, Tata Institute of Social Sciences. I studied nutrition, clinical dietetics. I studied literature. I did my master's in literature. I mention all of these things because I always feel all these things contributed, That's why today I can tell stories on science also. And I enjoy that because I've studied science. Yeah. And all of these, yes, I was a glider pilot. I used to fly glider planes. So I believe that everything just came together, fitted together when I felt like maybe I want to tell stories orally. My one reference point of guidance was a lady called Kathy Spagnoli. She's a storyteller who is based in the US. She's married to a South Indian, and she lived in India and Asia for a long time, and she wrote a book called World of Indian Stories. So that was one sort of a guide, where there were stories and there were ideas to work with. Yes, so that helped me take to storytelling. Otherwise, life is my teacher. And everyone else, my dance teacher, my program executive in All India Radio, the people who are guiding me in writing columns for the Hindu, I think all of them have been my teachers. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And of course the audience. Audience is the best teacher.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Shivani Akka. Apurva?
Hello, ma'am. When did you start this storytelling thing, and when was the moment that you decided that this is going to be my career or something like that?
Yeah. There is and there isn't a clear answer for that. Yeah. What's your name? It just says Thop Esel.
My name is Apurva.
Apurva. Okay. So Apurva, one of the answers I always give, is that I could never come to the point. Whenever I'm asked something, I'll have a story to tell. So in that sense, I think it started from when I was born. telling stories is just something I love to do. But technically speaking, I did storytelling in radio. 97 I started working with the radio. So I used to tell the Alice in Wonderland as a series for radio. And I also used to tell stories from 2000 when I finished my master's. In 2000 I finished my master's. I used to teach in schools English. So I would tell stories to my students to keep them engaged in the class, substitution period. When they also don't want the teacher in the class, I also want to sit in the staff room, but I have to sit there. So then I would tell them 40 minutes period. I would tell them, okay, 40 minutes period. 20 minutes if you keep quiet, 20 minutes I'll tell you a story. So everybody would keep quiet and I would get half the time to finish my work and the other half I would tell. So like this I had been, or I would tell it to help the children understand the chapter. I would make a story out of it. All this was happening in the 90s and 2000, but it was in 2008, that I like decided I want to do storytelling momentarily. In fact, honestly, it was just a camp. I decided to do a summer camp because I had a kidney ailment. I've spoken about this. It was a malfunction, nothing dramatic, but it was a malfunction and it was affecting my body. So my cholesterol count was, it's supposed to be around 160 or something. Mine was 656. So I was having some serious trouble with my health. And I was taking 80 tablets of steroids every day for 4 months. And after 4 months of that, and that time I was 31, both my children were small, and I thought I got quite fed up of that, and also of that fear of my health and everything. And it was summer, it was May, and I decided, let me do something that I really love. Let me do something that I don't want to postpone doing in my life anymore. And I just held this summer camp. It was just like literally a momentary decision. I made that time on the PPT, I made a poster and I took printouts. I put it in the local marketplace. I called the principal and said, I want to hire your hall. And I thought, okay, if I get 15 children, I'll do my camp. And I got 28. Then I had to stop. After that, I had to say, sorry, registrations are closed. I had to hire a couple of people to help me. And 3 weeks I did that camp. When I went for the follow-up checkup to my nephrologist, who's a kidney specialist, the next month when I went, he said, oh, we have to stop your steroids. You're perfectly fine. I remember asking him, you said that you will taper the medicines, 80 tablets and then 60 and then 40 and then 20. He said, no, but you're fine. You're perfectly fine. I can't continue the medication. So I don't know what science has to say, but I was convinced that day that it's because of the storytelling and dance. I did a storytelling and dance camp for children. So that's when I decided I'm not going to give up storytelling, come what may. It's important for my health. So that's how I continued. 2008 is when I literally decided that no, this will stay with me in my life. Yeah.
That's a nice story again.
That's an amazing story. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Apurva. Yeah.
Thank you, Apurva. Chandanana?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, really, I loved the way you explained the story to us. My question is, which story you would be liking saying, real life story or a fictional story? Which you would be liking the most? Why?
I like both, yeah. I like both, and it depends on the context. It depends on the context and, who is the audience, what are they ready for, what are they interested in. Like today, I have told fictional stories. I've also told stories from my life, right? So because you as an audience are interested in knowing that. So I'm happy to engage with those stories. I have done stories. I enjoy, do you know Chityala Ailamma, who was a revolutionary who fought, yeah, right, Chityala Ailamma. So I had done a storytelling on Chityala Ailamma. There's a different kind of excitement in a project like that, because you have to do your research and then you have to check for authenticity and still you have to try and dramatize the whole story, right? So I find that exciting where I'm telling historical stories which are real characters. There is a different excitement in that where there's a responsibility. You can't just say, you can't give any dialogues to Chityala Ailamma. You can't make up things, right? And you can't read one book and one article online and put it. You have to cross-check. You have to verify as much as possible, authenticity. So that's interesting about nonfiction, where all those elements come in. And then finally, how do you put all that together? They'll be mostly journal articles. They'll be dry journal articles. You have to take all that and then create a storytelling performance. So I find that very exciting. On the other hand, fictional stories have a fun beauty of their own. Like we just heard this one, yeah. Your primary focus is more on the performance and maybe on the choice of words. How lyrical you make it. You don't have to worry about the authenticity of the content. So there's a different kind of playing around that you can do there. So I enjoy both. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chandan Anna. Tejaswi Akka?
Hello, ma'am. I'm Tejaswi. First of all, it's so difficult for someone to make you attractive for 5 minutes. Like talking to her 5 minutes and say, listening to someone is a great times, but it has been already 1.5 hours. We are completely attracted to your way of talking, your expressing, and that is for me it is difficult. People like us, it's very fear inside of us, and something like we are not able to speak out in many people. But the way you express is completely blown away, and for that I'm so grateful for that. And you are smiling, your expressions, it is another level. So apart from this, my question is, ma'am, from all the story you have told, not the content about your story. The most thing I is the courage you have, because you never thought that I won't do this. See, you have completely changed the mindset of new generation, because there could be a chance of happiness in this stage also. So I think how that courage has built in you, how that different way of thought mindset has built in you now.
I think some things I will give credit to my family, because I never saw my parents really stop me, Tejashree. For example, when I wanted to, I joined the NCC Air Wing to be a glider pilot because I wanted to fly, and I come from middle class. I know my parents can't afford to pay for private flying classes. So I thought, chalo, government is there. Let's work hard a little bit and in return get to fly. I remember all my relatives were calling my mother, and they were telling her, girl, flying, why do you want her to do all that? Moreover, glider, a glider, if you are familiar, it's a purely mechanical thing. It's literally like a heavy kite in the sky, literally, because there's no motor, there's nothing to propel it, to stop it. It's just wind, it literally goes with the wind and it stops with the wind. So there have been very serious accidents, all that. But I mean, that happens on the road also, according to me, and thankfully, according to my mother. So my parents were people who never stopped me. I heard that only from my relatives, but so the concept was not even there in my head that, this is something dangerous. You should consider not doing it. It wasn't even a topic discussed in my house. In fact, I just overheard my auntie telling my mother. My mother didn't even pass it on to me. She didn't even think it's something, to be told to me. That she was like, NCC, great, go. Because she joined the NCC and her grandmother pulled her out back in the 70s. So she was like, come on, do it. When I was in class 9, I went camping with all the rest of the team. They were all in college. I was the only chutku. And my mom was like, go. She would send me. And I think those helped. And my father had this theory, okay, he would always say, I was never a topper in school and all that, just average performer. But I had shifted from Bangalore to Hyderabad in class 8. Okay, it was a new school and the principal said, I'm giving her admission subject to her good performance. Okay, so I was so scared and I performed so well that I got the first rank, which I never got before. And I came back home and I was telling my mother and all that. My mother was like, okay, who got second? Who got this? And my father was like, It was the only time I got first rank, and it didn't mean anything to my father. He said, Deepa, always remember, just compete with yourself. Just compete with yourself, because that competition has no end. So these are some things that, so after that, one, to be fearless, and then to not constantly worry that what are the rest doing? What are the rest doing? Especially in a life level, if you think of options like when you take up professions like this, not just me, anybody who makes such choices, we know that there are consequences. So for example, when I was in my 30s, I used to work part-time.
You are looking like that.
Sorry?
Still you are looking at this like same age.
Thank you. When that was very long ago, when I was in my 30s. So when I was in my 30s, early 30s, I used to work part-time. I used to anchor events, for the government, cultural events and all that, and make my money there, because I knew nobody would pay for storytelling. So I, and I was very aware that these are my choices. I'm not saying it like some tragedy story or anything. No, it was my choice. So I think these are the things that my family sort of prepared me for, that, just go ahead, be fearless, do stuff, and don't keep comparing. Because at that point, if I had compared, by then, many of my classmates were, like, one of them was the vice president of IBM, and so if I went to their Facebook and saw their holidays and their life and their house and their car, then it would be a stupid thing to do, right? Because this was my choice, that was that person's choice. So I think it helped me to both these things, not compare, just you take something beyond your track and then do it fearlessly. Just do it fearlessly. So yeah, I think that, yeah.
Perfect, actually.
And I keep joking with my friends that I am famous for jumping off the cliff. And then I'll be like, oh, something will happen. Maybe some hands will come, some net will appear, or maybe I'll get wings and I'll fly, or worse, I'll break my bones and then I will piece myself together and go. But if I want to jump, I will jump. So, like Shravanji was telling about all of you, when you're writing your book, that's how you're doing it, right? You don't know, it's such a scary thing, it's such a new thing, but you're like, I want to write, I will write. Just same spirit. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I understand. There is a difference in understanding the same speech also, like, same spirit also.
Yeah, that's what you're all doing, right? With your work here, as I understand, what I heard from Shravanji. Yeah, you're pushing yourself beyond your boundaries and you're going beyond your fears. Like just this morning, I got a forward of Winnie the Pooh, where the question is, what if I fall? And the answer is, but darling, what if you fly?
Wow.
So nice, no? Yeah, so we just have to go with those what ifs. If I fly and go. Then if we fall, we'll handle it. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Teja Akka, for the question.
Yeah,
Deepti.
Yes, ma'am. First of all, it was very amazing for us to listen story from you. I have no words to tell. I guess we have to learn music to express that also. Yeah. The thing is, the idea to mix the dance, storytelling, music, how did you relate them? The idea was, how did you get the idea?
Right. So thank you, Deepti. That's something I love to talk about. As I mentioned, I trained in dance, right? And I studied literature also. I also was with a dance troupe. Anupama Kailash, she's a Kuchipudi dancer. So I was with her troupe for quite a while. And I've, been part of seeing how they conceptualize a dance ballet, how they come up with the idea, how they actually execute it. And Anupama used to give a lot of focus even to the sutradhar, the narrator, what the narrator speaks. And there were times when I did not dance in her ballets, but I was being the sutradhar because she wanted someone who is good at speaking, at communication, but also knows the Sanskrit and the Telugu and everything correct, So they're not going to say, Hamsava Heni Raga, She wanted someone who will, do both appropriately. So I got a lot of training from there in conceptualizing how can you bring together all these things. And I found it very fascinating and interesting. The other thing is when I go back to my childhood, my mother was she still is, she's a big fan of dance and music. Okay. And back those days when I was a child, Doordarshan used to have on screen classical dancers. Their programs would come on screen. Leela Sampson and all the big names, Lalita Srinivasan, Shobana, all of their performances, would come on TV and we would record it. We had a VCR. We would record it. My mom and me would sit and watch it all over again. And I can never forget that each of those would start with these different women in a nice sari, nice Kanjivaram sari, and they will talk in English, very nice Indian English, and switch to all these words, the raga or the talam or all the appropriate words. And I loved that. I really loved that. I think all of these were reference points for me. And when I actually took the jump was 2010. Because in 2010, there was a library in Hyderabad, a very nice library called Treasure House, which is not there now, sadly. They had a big gathering of NRIs and their NRI children. They said, Deepa, can you do the Dashavatara like a musical storytelling, but in English? So that's when, for the first time, I actually consciously worked on it. I put that show together. Anupama Kailash, again, the Kuchipudi dancer, my guru, she helped me. How could I do it for storytelling, not just for dance? So we used some elements of dance ballet in that, like there'll be a specific pattern, the same shloka will repeat, there'll be a refrain, all those themes we took up. And for my first performance, I couldn't get any of my friends who play instruments to help me because somehow they were all busy. And both my sons, they were 4 years and 6 years old that time, they both volunteered saying, Mama, we'll help you. And you'll find the videos where they're sitting and they're playing in the background. Yeah, that's a story. That's how it started. And then I got the confidence that, okay, I got a framework. That this is a framework. This is how I can work because these are my skill sets also. I understand dance. I understand basics of music. And I am multilingual. So then I found a tool for putting it together. Yeah, that's how it started deeply.
One thing I've remembered is like the fusion of art, like music, dance, and art of storytelling. One of our mentors said that always try for the intersection. Don't go for the pure thing. Always try for the intersection. Then you will be like treated special, or you will be providing value, different value. I can see that in you. Like you have not started that individually, like music separately or dance separately. But yeah, the fusion was really amazing. The idea is also really, the way of expressing is also like I've said that we can't express in words. That's true.
Thank you so much, Deepti. And fusion, particularly about music, I'm not trained in vocal singing. Okay, so I always say that I started singing in my stories and nobody complained, so I'm continuing. You must just experiment.
Thank you so much, Deepti. There's a question by Sindhuja Akka in the chat box, ma'am. Is there any experience that someone came to you and said, like, there's a change happened in my life through the morals from your story? Like, anyone affected anyone's life?
So I never intend to teach morals, Sindhuja, because I believe that finally, if someone has to be influenced by you, that will happen by seeing you. Like there's a very popular saying about parenting that children don't listen to you, children watch you and learn from you. Yeah. So I don't usually tell stories with that intention. But having said that, yes, there are many projects where I know I'm hoping to transfer something, like the story I told you today. This is a story I have been telling a lot during the COVID times because I know that it's having a certain impact on people, particularly during the pandemic. A story that reminds you that day after day, just keep the faith. So in fact, this story itself, last April, I performed it on FB Live when the lockdown had just started. And there were so many people who kept saying, this is a pandemic story. This is a COVID story. This is what we needed to hear. So that, we can day after day keep our faith, because we don't know what the rest of the days are going to be like. So that happens many times. But particularly, since you're asking a very specific, I'll share an incident. I did a project for Society to Save the Rocks. It's an organization in Hyderabad which works towards conservation of rocks, because rocks actually play a very important role in the geological ecosystem, and which we don't understand. Neither did I. I had no clue about it till I met the people there. And then I did a lot of research, took their literature, read it together and woven stories. And we had a performance in the rocks. So this was in Banjara in Lotus Pond. So the audience was sitting up there on the little hillock of rocks and I was right below telling the story. It's there online. I'll just share the name here. It's called Rock and Tales. Okay, you can look up that video. So it was a project where I had a very specific aim, right? I was told that my agenda is to inspire a respect and a care for rocks in everyone, whoever comes in the audience. It could be children, it could be adults. So I told stories. I told different stories, like I told the story of Ram Setu, right? Because that was rocks which were put together to connect and to fulfill an agenda. I told a story written by, oh God, I'm forgetting his name, Vijay Marur. Vijay Marur, he's a well-known voiceover artist from Hyderabad. He wrote a biography of a rock. Okay, it's very interesting. The rock talks about its own life. It's an autobiography. It's a rock in Hyderabad. So in the process, you understand, formation of rocks. You understand history of Hyderabad, because a rock is watching the Kuli Qutub Shah and is watching the, Bhagmati and that, like that, you get the flow. So many different stories like that I put together. It was a 45-minute performance. So the idea was to sensitize everybody to rocks. So in between, I would interact with the audience, ask them questions like, when you were coming here, did you notice the rocks? Now when you're going back home, will you notice the rocks around you? Things like that. It was a very interesting performance. I enjoyed. The audience was lovely. After a month, a mother of a child, she met me at some other event. And she said that Deepa, ever since that show that happened on a weekend, okay, she said, I've just been following you and your performances and making sure that I bring my son wherever your sessions are. I must share something with you. My son has been studying in a school called Vidyaranya, which if some of you know, one corner of Vidyaranya has a lot of rocks, okay. Apparently he's been in the school since 1 year, but he never went to that corner because he was scared of rocks. And the day on Monday, weekend was this performance. On Monday when he went to school, he just very aram se ran up to the rocks and he was telling his friends, "Arey, rocks are our friends, come, play here." So that I remember, when you're telling me and you're asking me this question, I was really surprised by the impact and the wisdom of that child, to catch something which I never told them that now you must all conserve rocks, It was just sharing stories of the rocks. So yes, I can remember that incident, yeah. Sindhuja. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjita Akka. Nidvija Akka, can we have your question?
Yes. Thank you, Viveka. Hi, ma'am. So nice, and we are so glad that we are listening to you right now. And it's been already 1 hour 40 minutes, and none of us have realized that. I just want to ask you this question: What motivates you every day? You are so energetic. I can sense that.
About my energies, your name?
Litvija, ma'am. Litvija.
Litvija. Okay, I can see.
Litvija.
Right. Yeah. So I have to tell you, Litvija, that I have days when I'm really low, when I'm really sad, when I'm really down. I'm not always like this. And I think I just have learned very, very recently to not fight those days, to just accept, accept in the sense, accept is different from indulging. It's not like, overdo that emotion, but at least just say, okay, this is here now, okay, it's here. So there are those days, and sometimes it's like, like the moon waxes and wanes, like the low tide and the high tide. I think we need both, and sometimes I think those silences or those downs in some way give energy for the other days when you're full and excited and to be with people. So what motivates me? I certainly get a lot of energy from doing what I love. I get a lot of energy from connecting with people and people connecting back with me. It gives me a lot of energy. So after this session, I will be on a high. So that motivates me to share what I think, what I believe is some gift that I have and something that I love. To be able to share it. Like there are many days when I just wake up and I'm like, I'm so thankful, I just wake up thankful. I'm like, oh wow, I'm so lucky I get to do what I love, and as of today, I don't have to borrow money from anybody, and I'm fine with that. I'm not terribly ambitious. So I think that gives me energy. It gives me a lot of energy to know that I'm getting to do what I love. I'm getting to pursue it, and I'm getting to, for all of us, when we know that we add value to someone else, it matters to us a lot. It means a lot to us. So I guess that's the same with me. When I feel that, oh, I'm able to add value to someone else, or even to myself, that someone else could be myself. I'm able to add some value. I'm able to grow. I think the idea of growth gives me energy. The idea of connection, of exchanging. I'll quote Kurt Vonnegut. Once he was telling that he asked his son, what is life? And his son said, whatever it is, we have to get through it together. I think just having the opportunity to go through together with others, whoever. Today it's you, then some other day it's someone else for you, someone else for me. But the sense of togetherness, I think that also gives me energy. I'm just thinking, I'm just speaking aloud as you ask me, Litvija.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, ma'am. It totally makes sense actually, growing together.
Yeah. And to just remember that we are, at one level we are all alone, of course. Of course we're alone. We come alone, we die alone. How much ever my body is hurting, no one else can take on that pain, right? But parallelly, it's equally true that we are all together, right? I think that gives me energy. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Litvija, for that.
Ma'am, actually, I want to say thank you to Litvija for this question, because in ESL, we also try to add value to everyone, when we collaborate, and I think that's the best thing which we can do. That gives us so much of happiness, and thank you so much for attending, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time. And one last question: how does it feel when you perform with your kids, Harsh and Yadav?
I love it. I love it. Yeah. In fact, when we see the videos, now they're 16 and 14, and we see the videos when they were children, there was stuff happening which I didn't notice. So I'm going like, and Buddha said, Dhammam Sharanam, and behind these two are fighting. It's so much fun. I think it was all great fun. It's special in different ways. When they were small, so when they were in this 10 years to 12 years, they stopped. Boys, they stopped they stopped performing with me. And then when they became teenagers, they performed again, but this time proper. Like my elder son was playing the tabla, my younger son was playing the keyboard. That was very special. There were people who saw the video and said, "Oh, nice musicians accompanying you." So, like proper grown-up musicians, in kurta and all that. So it's very. I take a lot of. I think the heart feels very warm and proud when that happens. Yeah. Yes.
I must say,
Sorry. I wanted to say one thing that I was reminded of when I heard Shravanji speak. So I just want to share that before we end. Some of you might have heard about it, some of you might not. There is a theory in the education field called the Pygmalion theory. It's called the Pygmalion theory, and it's based on the story of Pygmalion, right? Anyway, that's another long backstory. But if you've seen My Fair Lady, yeah, I just wanted to share this about the Pygmalion theory. It's based on a research project that was done across the US with thousands of teachers, where the teachers were given information about the children who were joining their class. So they were told, this child scored 30% last year. This child scored 90% last year, right? They were given information like that about each child. And they found that at the end of the year, the annual report, that child again got around 30-35, or the 90% child again got around 90-95%. Okay. Now, the interesting part was that the teachers were not told the truth, which means that a child who actually used to score 90%, the teacher had been told that this is a 30% child. All right. And what scores did the child get according to what the teacher believed the child would get? So the child literally ended up living up to that expectation. So a 30% child, because the teacher was believing that there's a 90% child, pulled up his performance, while a 90% child, because the teacher had begun to believe she's a 30%, she dropped in performance, right? So I was reminded of that when I heard Shravanji talk about how each of you have the potential. You can write books, you can do this, you can do that. It's lovely. It's really nice that there's someone like him with you all, and you're all on this journey together. It's heartwarming. It's very inspiring and encouraging. Yeah, and great, lovely, each one of you. I enjoyed this interaction. I'm going to go back and visit all of the work you've done.
Taman sir encourages us every moment.
I can imagine.
Dream big, bigger and bigger. He always used to say that.
Lovely. So nice to see that. Yeah. That's all the young people need. Be reminded of their potential.
I believe when we dream big, or when we dream what we want to dream or what we want to create, we connect with the soul of the universe. So that's what I ask these students to do it, is because then once you connect to the soul of the universe, then you can do pretty much anything. Because now you are connected to to everyone. You are no longer your own person, everyone. And that is it's such a simple path, but somehow particular information was not given.
Yeah, very true.
Thank you very much, Deepaji. This was absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. Yes.
And the words,
thank you so much.
Words that transforming energy, all those things, like growing together. We all do that, we all motivate each other, we all respect each other. And I think that's what happens, like the happy people, all the happy people does this actually. I guess, like whoever we listen to, they all tell the same thing, like grow together.
Super, super.
Hi, Deepa ji. I would like to say something.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Wish you all the best for spreading the stories through spreading the light and, to the world, for the happiness and the welfare. Those stories will sure, the way you are telling, so sweet.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Yes. We'll all shine together.
Yep.
Thank you so
Ma'am,
much. Thank you so
your
much
way
for
of
your
experience.
time.
Last point I want to add. Your way of expressing and the energy you have is like a 20 years girl. I don't even believe that you are doing.
Even I don't believe. I saw that my license had expired and I was thinking, how come it's already expired?
That's not true, actually. If you look at our parents' age is 90, but their brain is 18 and 8,
Yeah. Yes. They're so energetic. Yeah. They teach us.
Human never become old inside, actually.
Yes. Inside we are still.
Never.
True. Yeah. Lovely. Yeah. So.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And it was very kind of Yajat for letting us your number, and thank you so much.
I let him know that. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Have a nice Sunday, everyone. And yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Let's all keep shining.
I can